From KBAK-TV, this is an Eyewitness News Break.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Rochelle Murcia.
And I'm Dave Gonzalez. We're about to join here a news conference to be held at Bakersfield Police Department.
That's right. It involves the FBI, Drug Enforcement Agency, and IRS. Stems from a corruption case of 2 former BPD officers admitted to stealing drugs and other felonies. Let's go ahead and take that conference now.
It'll be limited, so please make sure that you have all your questions ready and that you get all your questions asked and answered. So I'd like to first introduce the acting United States Attorney of the Eastern District of California, Mr. Philip Talbert.
Thanks. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today. Again, my name is Phil Talbert. I'm the acting United States Attorney for the Eastern District of California. Earlier today at the federal courthouse in Fresno, former Bakersfield police detective Patrick Mara was sentenced to 5 years in prison for drug trafficking. Mara also forfeited $80,000 as proceeds from the scheme. This follows the earlier sentencing of his partner, former detective Damacio Diaz, to 5 years in prison for his role in the same scheme. Diaz was also ordered to pay over $40,000 in restitution and forfeited $79,000. As detailed in our filings in court, Diaz and Mara engaged in a conspiracy over a period of years to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute methamphetamine, large amounts of crystal methamphetamine. Diaz and Mara were both assigned Bakersfield PD's narcotics unit and also the Southern Tri-County Task Force of the high-intensity drug trafficking area. As such, both were responsible for investigating drug traffickers. In May of this year, Diaz pleaded guilty to 3 criminal charges. First, Diaz pleaded guilty to federal programs bribery. The evidence showed that Diaz operated a criminal informant named Guillermo Magallanes, also known as Memo. Diaz knew that Memo continued to engage in large-scale drug trafficking while he was an informant, but worked with him as an informant anyway. Memo paid bribes to Diaz for protection and information, and Diaz supplied it. Second, Diaz pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute methamphetamine. On September 20th, 2012, Diaz and Mara had a canine officer stop a vehicle, inside of which were 10 pounds of crystal methamphetamine. The canine officer turned the scene over to Diaz and Mara, who booked only 1 pound into evidence, keeping 9 pounds of methamphetamine for themselves. Later, Diaz and Mara sold the 9 pounds and pocketed the proceeds. Our investigation concluded that the canine officer did not know Diaz and Mara kept 9 pounds for their own further sale and was not knowingly involved in their criminal conduct. Third, Diaz pleaded guilty to failing to report on his federal income taxes $97,900 he received as part of the methamphetamine trafficking scheme, profit he had received for his role. In June, Mara pleaded guilty to 1 charge, conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute methamphetamine. He acknowledged as part of his plea that he was responsible for distributing over 20 pounds of methamphetamine. The crimes that Diaz and Mara committed put pounds and pounds of crystal methamphetamine out on the street and into our community in Bakersfield, where it undoubtedly fueled addictions and helped ruin lives. The way they did it, by enlisting unwitting fellow police officers to help them conduct unofficial, unplanned, unsupervised operations, endangered those officers and the public. Traffic stops like the one they enlisted the canine officer for in September 2012 had not been reviewed for safety and did not use appropriate backup. Their actions risked their fellow officers' safety for their own greed. Moreover, by protecting a confidential informant that he knew was illegally trafficking in drugs in return for bribes, Diaz undermined his police department's crime-fighting efforts and potentially compromised law enforcement operations. Again, Diaz did this out of greed. Police officers like Diaz and Mara are sworn to uphold and enforce the law as they serve the public and keep it safe. Assigned to investigate and build cases against drug traffickers, though, they became the drug traffickers themselves. Diaz and Mara abused their authority as police officers and harmed the very community they had promised to serve. They betrayed their fellow police officers, putting officer lives at risk and undermining the work their colleagues were doing. Their actions have endangered the community's faith in its law enforcement agencies. Keeping the public safe is something the Bakersfield Police Department needs the public's help and trust to accomplish. Public corruption like this can reduce that trust, making law enforcement's job that much harder. When the public learns that police officers who are supposed to be enforcing the law have been violating that very law, particularly under circumstances like these involving huge amounts of harmful, illegal drugs, people's faith in law enforcement is understandably shaken. And the police who are dedicated to performing their jobs honestly and with integrity must work to regain that community's trust. This investigation started with DEA and Bakersfield Police Department focused on another drug trafficker. Intercepted phone conversations indicated that Memo was buying methamphetamine from that other trafficker. Then Memo was intercepted warning him not to use his phone anymore, suggesting that Memo had been tipped off about the wire. Later, when agents arrested Memo for methamphetamine sales, he told them about Diaz providing him protection and information in return for money. With the investigation taking a public corruption turn, the FBI joined the case and also IRS to work on the financial angle. But the agents needed help with examining Diaz's past drug seizures, both the evidence seized and the written reports that were completed, to see if Memo's allegations about Diaz could be corroborated. It was at that point that my predecessor, then U.S. Attorney Ben Wagner, and I reached out to Chief Williamson personally to ask for his assistance in the investigation. The chief did not hesitate and immediately offered his full cooperation. He assigned two of his top detectives, Paul Yoon and Patrick Hayes, to assist in the investigation, which was otherwise kept quiet within the Bakersfield Police Department. Paul Yoon was already well known in my office because he had worked closely with us on a number of cases arising from a financial crimes task force. In fact, the last time I was in this room in 2013 was when Ben Wagner, then the U.S. Attorney, presented Detective Yoon with a U.S. Attorney's Award for his outstanding work with our office. Both Diaz and Mara initially lied to the investigating agents about their criminal conduct. It was only after he realized that the evidence indicated his guilt that Diaz acknowledged his conduct and pointed a finger at Mara. Mara also lied to the agents at first, acknowledging the truth only after Diaz implicated him. During the course of the investigation, the investigative team followed the facts wherever they took them. The team investigated a number of related drug trafficking allegations, including allegations that Diaz later made against unnamed BPD officers in a public filing in his case. After investigating every one of these allegations, the team concluded that two Bakersfield police officers had committed criminal conduct, Diaz and Mara. With today's sentencing, we've now completed our prosecution of the two of them. While this investigation itself is not complete, I do not anticipate any other criminal charges being brought against Bakersfield Police Department officers relating to these allegations. I want to thank my federal partners who are up here on the stage with me, from the FBI, the DEA, the IRS, for their careful professional work on this investigation. I also want to thank Chief Williamson for the critical assistance he provided to the investigative team and for his unwavering support through the entire process. This has been a real team effort. A special thank you goes to the investigative team itself of Justin Badger and Rich Snodgrass of the FBI, Chris Grimm of the DEA, Andrew Moreno of the IRS, and of course Paul Yoon and Patrick Hayes of the Bakersfield Police Department. Thanks to each of you for your hard work on this case. I also want to thank the two attorneys from my office for their great work on this case, Brian Delaney and Angela Scott. We opened our Bakersfield office early last year to better serve the growing population of Bakersfield and Kern County. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Delaney and Scott have done a fantastic job here. in the southern portion of our district. In addition to prosecuting this case, they have worked on a number of cases of importance to this region, including the Whittington hate crime case and the Carranza-Sanchez alien smuggling fraud case, each of which is currently set for trial. In fact, our Bakersfield office and our law enforcement partners here have been so productive that we've recently made the decision to move a third assistant U.S. attorney position down here to the Bakersfield office. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Hoover. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge for the DEA in Sacramento. You know, this case started as a pretty typical drug investigation, and like many others, we see how drug trafficking invites other types of crimes. In this case, out of greed, Patrick Mara decided to take the easy money that drug trafficking offers. And unfortunately, this isn't the only case in the district over the past couple of years that we've seen that involves public corruption and drug trafficking. And here's a sad fact. Drug abuse today in this country is worse than it's ever been. Every day in America, 129 people die from a drug overdose. That's more people than die from car crashes. It's more people than die from firearms, and that's a tragedy. The fact that Patrick Mara chose to victimize the community that he swore to protect and serve, that's a tragedy too. First, because, you know, we need to remember drugs are insidious and they destroy lives. And second, what he did shatters public trust. And cops everywhere pay the price for that. The people in this room are paying the price for that. But in contrast, this case is an example of the great work that in fact takes place every day in Kern County. The investigative team that includes the Bakersfield Police Department did their jobs. It was a tough job, but they did their jobs, and they should be proud of their work. So I'd like to thank Chief Williamson, the FBI, the IRS, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for what was, by all accounts, a model for collaboration. You know, the DEA is committed to the communities that we serve. We live in these communities, and we look forward to working with our law enforcement partners on projects in the future that make our communities a safer place to live and work. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Jose Moreno. I am the supervisory senior resident agent. Basically, I'm in charge of the FBI office here in Bakersfield. And I'll tell you real quickly, just basically our involvement in this investigation. It commenced in February of 2015 when we initiated an investigation into the corrupt activities of Damacio Diaz, and that subsequently led to Patrick Mara, who, as you know, was sentenced today. Counterparts from the DEA, IRS, and Bakersfield Police Department wasted no time in joining this investigation, and together working hand in hand with our United States Attorney's Office, we came to another successful conclusion today. The FBI would like to also extend our gratitude to these valuable law enforcement partners, the IRS, DEA, and our counterparts here from Bakersfield PD. The American people have given police officers awesome authority. Men and women, as you see today here, use that authority to keep us safe each and every day. Patrick Mara and his corrupt colleague betrayed that trust. They disgraced the profession of law enforcement and added to the burden of their colleagues who put daily their lives on the line with absolute integrity. The FBI and our partners will remain ever vigilant to continue to identify and root out corruption, because honest public service is the foundation of the law enforcement profession and our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mike Batdorf. I'm the special agent in charge with IRS Criminal Investigation in the Oakland Field Office. I also want to obviously extend my thanks to the collaborative team here today. That collaboration and working together as a law enforcement community it should be a model for those going forward on how this all comes together. Today's sentencing of Mr. Mara and that of Mr. Diaz a couple weeks ago should send notice to anyone contemplating short-term gains over their sworn oath to serve and protect. It does not pay. Law enforcement officers at the local, state, and federal levels are rightfully held to a higher standard. IRSCI will continue to follow the money. Where is it coming from? Where is it going? Is it being used to buy assets, boats, cars, houses? And even in some circumstances, do they actually file and pay taxes on illegal gotten gains? We will continue to devote our resources to investigate those who choose greed over service. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. I believe I've spoke with many of you quite extensively about this case over the last year and a half or so. I can tell you that on a day in February 2015, I was contacted by our agent in charge, Jose Moreno from the FBI, that an investigation was going to be conducted and was underway currently on disgraced officer, detective then, Damacio Diaz. This is a public corruption case that I was notified of. Later on, we were asked if we could provide resources to the investigation, which we gladly provided. It was later determined that Detective Patrick Mara was also involved in the public corruption case, and another investigation piggybacking off the one that was already started commenced at that point. Now we're to this point where both officers have been indicted, or both former officers, I guess, have been indicted. I think it goes a long way to show the teamwork that all of us have had, and it's just not this group of people. It takes a lot of people to put an investigation like this. I think that our U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District, Phil Talbot, did an excellent job in saying that there was no other officers involved in this corruption scandal. They investigated every name that came up, uncovered every rock, and no one else's name came to light in their scandal. We have also done internal investigations on many allegations that were made, and once again have been able to uncover nothing. It was quite an extensive investigation, obviously. I believe I was told that 5 years worth of narcotics in our property room was gone through with every report that was done in the entire department, and the only narcotics that were missing were associated with Diaz and Mara only. So the extent and the breadth of the investigation was quite extensive. As I said, it was over 18 months or so to come to this point. Now in regards to the sentencing of both Mara and Diaz, I would say this. I remember probably 3 weeks ago when Mr. Diaz emerged from the courtroom and claimed that it was a victory for him. I find no victor in this incident or in these incidents. I don't think the police officers here are victorious. I don't think our community at large is victorious. I don't think the men and women that wear that badge courageously, with honor, and go out and protect and serve either are victorious. I would say I don't believe that Mr. Diaz, even though he thinks he is victorious, is. I don't believe that his family is, that he's going to leave behind for numerous years, and I feel the same about Mr. Mara. Not only their immediate families, but their extended families, who are generally upstanding citizens in the Bakersfield community and the McFarland community. As we move forward, we will move past this. Obviously, we have members of our department have violated the public trust at this time. As it's eroded, we need to build it back up. And that's what we'll be working on. We've been working through a lot of issues over the last year and a half. With that said, I'd like to just once again compliment all the people, all the individuals, all the law enforcement agencies that were involved in the investigation to bring it to this conclusion. And I don't know, we're going to ask and do questions now, or is someone else going to talk? No?
Ready for questions.
Okay, so we'll open up to questions if you want to talk to.
Mr. Talbot, I have a question from Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know, just to clarify, besides taking those 10 pounds of methamphetamine, it stated that Diaz and Mara would enlist the help of other BPD patrol officers to stop cars, and then the patrol officer would only take a fraction of the drugs that were contained in those cars, and Mara and Diaz would take the rest.
All right, you hear the news conference concluding. There are some questions being asked by reporters there. We heard from several agencies represented there, the IRS as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office and the DEA as well. And I thought what was kind of wrapping things up there at the end is when the chief talked about some other allegations. There have, of course, been other allegations made about corruption within the department. And he says that those have been investigated and nothing has been found. And he also had some words for Damacio Diaz. When he was sentenced, he came out of the courthouse saying that he felt victorious in all of this, and he said, "I find no victor in any of these incidents," kind of telling that he's putting this to rest and saying that we will move past this, the department will.
Yeah, the FBI saying the investigation started back in 2015, so 18 months of this investigation going on, and this is all coming to a head there with that press conference.
Yeah, there's a lot said there, and Jose Gaspar, and we have a couple of reporters, in fact, down at the press conference, taking it all in, recording it all for you, and Carol Ferguson will be along with the report. She was at the sentencing of Mara today in Fresno. She'll have that for us coming up at 5 o'clock.
And that concludes this special report.